Hey everybody, welcome to the latest edition of Off the Top Rope with Mike Mayer here on the Off the Mike Sports Network on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Interesting topic for y'all, an interesting food for thought. And I got to give credit to Julian Weeks on Twitter. Big WWE fan. I've seen a lot of his tweets. At Julian, JULIANWKS on Twitter. And listen, I don't always agree with Julian, but I got to give him full credit for thinking this out because there's been a lot of discussion about some of the major feuds in WWE, but it is inarguable across WWE or in any form of wrestling right now. Yes, because Mariah May and Toni Storm is done. You can't make that argument with me anymore, and because that was a really good women's feud. The best women's feud in all of professional wrestling right now is Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. It's not even close, frankly. Because these two have been feuding and beefing with each other for close to 2 years. And there's legitimate heat behind this feud. Liv legitimately injured Rhea. She stole his boyfriend and his group. And there's a ton of heat behind this. But here we are. And a lot of this started back after WrestleMania. And then obviously Rhea gets hurt. We have the match at SummerSlam. And then we have the mixed tag match at Bash in Berlin. So Liv and Rhea are facing each other at Bad Blood in early October. A lot of people want this feud to be over. But Julian Weeks, and I give him a ton of credit for this, go follow him. Sometimes I don't always agree with him, but this was a very interesting thought, and I want to flesh this out here with y'all because it got me thinking about bigger picture stuff going into how long this feud should go. So he says, at Bad Blood, Liv Morgan beats Rhea Ripley with the help of a returning Raquel Rodriguez. That makes a ton of sense. Raquel still has heat with Rhea. Raquel has been out for a while. She's the former tag team partner of Liv. I think that would be a great way to extend this feud. Then you get Raquel and Rhea at Crown Jewel. I don't know how that happens, but Julian doesn't really spell that out here in terms of how that goes. War Games. You get Team Rhea versus Team Liv. I think if you're going to do a War Games for the women's side, that is the way to go. In this scenario, he proposes that Rhea teams with Damage Control, a newly babyface Damage Control, which would be really interesting, and Liv and Raquel team up with the Unholy Union. And maybe Blair Davenport's involved in that, and we stretch this out to 5 members. We'll see. That's how we extend this feud even further. Royal Rumble. You get Liv defending against either Io or Kairi Sane from Damage Control. That would actually be a really good idea and a really formidable opponent to get a really good match out of Liv. Liv's a really good wrestler, but if I would totally endorse either one of those two. Hell, if you want to make it a triple threat, I'm all about that. So, Julian, good thought there. So then before the Royal Rumble, in the build-up to this, Liv has obviously got 2 wins over Rhea at this point. So, according to Julian here in this tweet, he says, Liv is going to point out that she's already beaten Rhea twice, and she doesn't deserve another shot. So she says, hey, yeah, you got to go earn it. And she will also say she's moving on to face more deserving competition, which will ultimately, in this scenario, lead to Io or Kairi challenging her. And meanwhile, Rhea sets her sights on winning the Royal Rumble. And Liv or Raquel is somehow in the Final Four of this Royal Rumble, or one of them screws over Rhea in this scenario, and Rhea has to go on and win the Elimination Chamber. I like that because Rhea Ripley's already won a Royal Rumble. There hasn't been a repeat Royal Rumble winner, at least on the women's side. I don't want that to happen. I think they should definitely milk that and give a lot of women other opportunities, and somebody should ultimately win from the SmackDown side to ultimately challenge, if it's Nia Jax at that point or whoever. And then this all leads to Rhea Ripley facing Liv Morgan at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, and Rhea Ripley finally beats Liv Morgan there. And I was thinking about this because that is asking a lot of faith from the WWE audience to stretch this thing out for basically a calendar year, because this has really been going on since post WrestleMania this year, because that was when Liv injured Rhea's shoulder, and it obviously delayed a lot of this stuff, but it's led to a very interesting story being developed across this. And if you incorporate Raquel Rodriguez, and I know there's some concerns about Raquel Rodriguez's health, to be honest with you, if you can get Raquel Rodriguez and get this to the end of the year, I don't even think having Raquel Rodriguez in this storyline really, like, yeah, it'd be nice to have her there, but they can effectively, if they can stretch this out at least until the end of the year, I think there's a strong possibility that this actually happens. Because here's the other thing at play here in why I think Julian is onto something, and here's why I ultimately think that I believe that Triple H can ultimately stretch out Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan enough to get us to buy into another match at WrestleMania after Bad Blood. Because if you take a look up and down the card right now, Rhea Ripley or Liv Morgan, if they're separated from each other, I don't know what either of these two do at this point. There is not anybody really at this point that you could deem really a challenger for Liv, unless you want to go with Raquel Rodriguez. But no disrespect to Raquel, she's been gone for so long, you would really have to get a lot of belief in Raquel to ultimately get buy-in for Liv and Raquel. And then for Rhea, you've already done one of the biggest matches you can do in this women's division with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Now you go further down the totem pole. The next biggest option is Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. And we already know Bianca Belair is in a tag team with Jade Cargill. And the inevitable point from that is those two are going to face each other at WrestleMania. So Bianca's off the table, which also means Jade is off the table. So none of that is happening. You're not getting Raquel Rodriguez versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. In this scenario, that's happening in Crown Jewel. So you're not doing that. So the only real option in this scenario for both of these women, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, is to ultimately stretch this out as far as you can to WrestleMania. Because that is, as I said, the biggest women's feud, it's the hottest women's rivalry in all of professional wrestling right now. And if you want to argue with me about that in the comments, you're wrong. Because Toni Storm and Mariah May, it's over. And nothing Mercedes Moné has done is even approaching this level. And there's nothing, and all due respect to TNA, I love their knockouts division. Jordynne Grace is so goddamn dominant that there's no rivalry there that's going to even approach this. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley is unequivocally the biggest rivalry in the industry right now on the women's side. It's one of the biggest rivalries in the entire industry, period. So I give credit to Julian Weeks for bringing this up, because it's hard to, fathom, hey, stretching a feud out for that long. But hey, they managed to stretch a CM Punk feud with Drew McIntyre out for 6 to 7 months before Punk could even wrestle, and they got it done. So if they want to go this route, I fully believe that WWE can execute it. And if they can get to the end of the year, I think there's a really strong possibility that it's Rhea and Liv at WrestleMania for the Women's World Championship. Because in the end, if Rhea just beats Liv at Bad Blood, I don't know where either of these two go. Because I could not tell you have Rhea face Raquel, but that's not going to be a WrestleMania match, because I just don't know who Rhea's going to face at WrestleMania if she's the champion at that point. And yeah, her taking back-to-back losses to Liv Morgan is kind of an issue, but at the same time, I think there is a lot more to be gained from Liv holding on to that championship, being in the Judgment Day, milking that out as far as you can, and incorporating War Games into this, incorporating Raquel Rodriguez, using the Royal Rumble and screwing Rhea there, and then Rhea finally wins the Elimination Chamber and gets her match with Liv at WrestleMania, where she gets the win. She finally gets her championship back after chasing it for a year. There is just more to be gained with Rhea Ripley as the babyface chasing Liv Morgan, the heel, as champion. So again, a lot of people are not going to probably like this. I know this is probably going to be a divisive topic on the internet, but if you really dive deeper into this situation, I just think that, it's really the only way you can go with these two, because they're so attached at the hip. They've been on this feud for a couple of years. It's the biggest feud in this industry, and on the women's side at least, and maybe it's one of the three to four in the entire industry, to be honest with you. It's probably right up there with whatever is going on with the Bloodline. Like, it's that compelling, and I give him a ton of credit. But Rhea's got nobody to face if she's the champion, and if she's not, or if they somehow lose it for her, like, Bianca Belair's off the board. She's not. That's not happening. They're delaying that for another year because she's got Jade Cargill, and I just don't know where Liv Morgan goes from there either. So anyway, some food for thought for you. An interesting, compelling topic here from Off the Top Rope. Again, shout out to Julian Weeks for sort of planting that seed in my head, helping me with some content. He's a good follow. Maybe not for everybody, but I give him a ton of credit for posing that. It's a very interesting and compelling idea to think about how long you can really drag this out. So anyway, I'll follow the channel, the Off the Mic Sports Network at OT Mike Sports. Follow me at Off the Mic 28. Yeah, a lot of great content here on the channel. Really excited about the change. Thanks to all the new and old subscribers for supporting the channel. And we'll talk soon. A lot of great stuff over the weekend, college football, NFL also, and we'll get into a new week of wrestling here on Off the Top Rope with Mike Mayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.